Hey, True Believers, Chris Mack coming at you today with Alpha Flight Issue 3. And man, I wish I would have picked these up way back in the day and just got into Alpha Flight sooner, because this particular issue was awesome. And what really drew me to it, other than the fact that I wanted to continue reading, was the cover. I mean, just look at those intricate lines around Jeannie Marie. Just, whew, that is some awesome negative artwork there. And of course, it was done by John Byrne. Looks fan-freaking-tastic. Now, the print date on this, I believe, was October 1983. And before we even dive into it, let's talk about who made this book. This is John Byrne doing story and art, Tom Orzechowski doing the letters, Andy Yakis doing the colors, Denny O'Neil was the editor, and Jim Shooter, Tomorrow Man, which, again, I love when they would do that just to kind of make you feel like you're part of the club. So we have an all-star cast on this book. And if I remember from issue 2, Snowbird receives a spiritual message from Shaman. She knows that the Alpha Flight's in trouble, and so she takes off. And listen to the way Byrne narrates this. I don't see this level of storytelling in comics anymore. And remember, Byrne worked with Claremont for a long time, so I could see where Chris, not wore off on him, but you know what I'm trying to say. It was inspired by him. It says, beneath her roll the great white lands of the far north, the smooth, unchanging blanket of snows Robert Service called older than history. Little altars in the face of the land. The wind blows, the snow shift to new patterns, but overall is this an awesome sameness. The woman called Snowbird knows well that her sameness, her innermost memories dwell beyond human comprehension, somewhere in the realms of the gods, and she remembers the oldest snows. Now, the way that Byrne writes this, it sounds like something you would hear more in like a novel and not a comic book. And this is the level of storytelling that is just missing from modern books. Now, to go back into the story, she sees the crashed Alpha Flight jet. And one of her powers that I like is how she's able to, basically, if something is relatively fresh, where like you can see there's still smoke, she can play back time and see what happened. And the artwork is just astounding. It says, for a moment, nothing seems to happen. Then with the suddenness of a thunderclap, the mask of time peels back. Before Snowbird's eyes, the events of the past hour reverse themselves, like a spectral film running backwards through a ghastly projector. The image of the crashed ship leaps skyward, yawning crazily as it arcs across the sky. Then at the apex of the mad flight, a phantom ruby beam flickers across the ship's path. Flames lick her wings as scrapes of vaporized metal congeal from nothing and fly back to the side of the ship. The craft is made whole and continues on its journey back through its past. Now, we read modern comics, we do not see that type of narration, that third-party narration anymore. A lot of the times they just enter in monologue, which is fine, but it just does not help the story the way this used to. Now here, what makes this book important to me is this is the first time Guardian refers to himself as Guardian instead of Vindicator. It says 4 of her fellow members, or perhaps Earth's strangest fighting team, emerge from the wreckage. The Super Twins, North Star and Aurora. There's some time leader who now calls himself Guardian, and the super strong metamorphosed human called Sasquatch. All seem shaken, but otherwise uninjured. That just brings anybody up to speed. And I've talked about how when someone picks up a comic, it should be their first, or at least enough information to glean what's happening, or at least feel comfortable enough to want to go back and read the back issues and the moving forward. And here, I feel like I get that. I mean, yeah, I've been reading X-Men and whatnot for years, but I really don't know anything of Alpha Flight. I mean, this is issue 4. That's what I'm on. But not even reading those, I feel like I have enough information here to see that something happened. The rest of the flight's trying to penetrate this fortress, and Snowbird is on her way to find out what happened. All the while, Ginny Marie and Northstar are captured on this other side of this wall. Pitch black. And so they clasp hands, and it says, at the moment of contact, a perfect white light bursts out, filling the vast chambers, driving away every shadow. And I love the work, this just negative black and white stuff. Just look at the perspective work, that line art, just so clean and sexy. Great work there. Now, as they're trying to escape their prison, Ginny Marie runs into these steel beams that are just coming after her. It says they spring at her from all directions, whistling past like steel arrows from a bow. Even her incredible speed is no use to her. They pursue, filling the spaces around her, drawing closer, ever closer. Suddenly there's nowhere left to run, to fly. The space around her shrinks faster and faster. Death closes a cold hand about her. And something in her face, her eyes, her very posture changes. Aurora is afraid. She flees into another personality. Whew. Damn good storytelling. And here you kind of see the duality of Aurora and Ginny Marie, and how Northstar is really the only one that can center her between these two personalities that she has. And then we find out what's going on with Marina, which is a horrific scene. If I can find it, You come to find out that this ship or base, whatever it may be, is connected to her, and that she's really not a young adult or 20 years old, as they mention in this book, but much, much older than time. The same with the Master. We learned some very interesting facts about him and how much of a threat he really is. But before we can get any more, Byrne masterfully leaves you on a cliffhanger with two of Marvel's classic heroes, which jumps us back into what's called purpose. I love when they would always do backup stories that would mean something in a comic. This is showing how James Hudson was working for Cam-Am, and he found out that his work with this exoskeleton that was supposed to be for archaeology and geological surveys was going to be sold to the military, the United States military. Remember, he's Canadian. So last issue, spoiler alert, he steals the exosuit, destroys it, and takes the helmet, because he created that before working at the Amcam. Tongue-tied. He goes, well, you've done it. Good for you. And all this time, boy, oh, no job, no money, no future, and a good chance of criminal charges. And so Heather visits him, and she goes, I have 4 brothers. And if they're anything like you have no food in the fridge. And you can just see how selfish and caring she is. She doesn't even judge him for keeping his helmet or destroying the helmet. The only thing that is a little creepy is, yes, they're married now. But she goes, don't say anything yet, Dr. Hudson. I know it's crazy. I know you hardly even know me. But I know you. I know all about you. I fell in love with you the first time I saw you. We're right for each other, Dr. Hudson. I know we are, and I want to help to take care of you. Okay, that's sweet. But then he's like, Heather, how old are you? She goes, oh, right, I'm 17. I'll be 18 next month. But we're going to move on past that. That was kind of a little creepy. But she insists with her government connections that let her help him. And so she takes him through all the bureaucratic red tape, finally leading up to a lawyer who puts him at the forefront of the Canadian Prime Minister, which leads to him forefronting to help build Department H. And basically how he's able to find purpose in his life and his work, and also meet some strange individuals. He meets Mother Mavericks. He goes, in the midst of it comes Hudson's greatest success and greatest failure, the mutant super agent codenamed Wolverine. And so even though we go back and read the Claremont era when they brought in Alpha Flight to try to take Logan back, you're thinking, man, Guardian, or at that time Vindicator, was a dick. But I like that Byrne comes back and shows that what happens is that Hudson is a reluctant hero with a big heart, but has been battle tested and is a little hard because of it. Like hardened, you know what I mean? So So you kind of come to respect the man. It's sort of like Cyclops, where he has all this responsibility thrown upon his shoulders, and it's up to him to make the hard calls. And I love that they end it with a splash page, and then good old Denny O'Neil. How's that for a sneaky way of giving you the first official Alpha Flight pinup? Again, just great little ways to make you feel like you're like in the in club with the creative team on these books. This is the quality of Marvel Comics that I miss, and why I cannot see back in the day where they would say, go to your local comic shop and say, make mine Marvel. Because there was just this level of storytelling and artwork, as you can see, that it would just blow you away and make you want to read each book month after month. And I'm just enjoying back issue hunting. There's not that many modern comics anymore that have this level of detail anymore, and it breaks my heart. But nonetheless, at least we have these cherished relics for dinosaurs like me that love great storytelling. So if y'all have enjoyed what you've seen, please first and foremost support your local comic shop and go grab yourself a copy. And if you've enjoyed this review, we really would appreciate if you take a moment to like, share, and subscribe. Helps the club channel more than you could possibly know. And if you don't mind hitting that fancy little flight bell next to subscribe, that way as we continue to upload content, you guys get notified. Come to the channel, and we love talking with y'all and hearing your thoughts and feedback down in the comments below, or our social media pages, which I'll make sure to leave the links down in the description. So with all that said, I hope y'all continue to have an absolutely amazing day reading, and happy hunting, true believers.